Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Walkthrough Radio Show with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We got a lot to talk about today, guys. We're going to talk about everything. We got some football, some baseball. We're going to talk about different athletes, the greatest NFL offenses. We got all kind of stuff to talk about. Stick around. It's going to be a great show. K-Walk, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
All is well, Jay. All is well. Looking forward to another great one, brother. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And let's jump right into it, man. I guess, the NFL with training camps are getting ready to kick off soon. We're getting close to football season again. But I guess the biggest story out there right now is Lamar Jackson. And are they going to get a deal done with the Ravens? I think he posted on his Twitter, or he put like the back page of his Twitter saying, I need money, or something to that effect. So Lamar wants that extension. He wants that long-term deal. K-Walk, do you see this thing getting done before training camp starts?
You know what, Jay? I want to say yes, man, but it just seems like it hasn't been done as of yet. And you got to wonder why. Is it one of those seasons where the Ravens are going to sit back and see what type of year he has, what type of season he has before they extend him? But if I was a betting man, Jay, I'm going to say yeah, Jay. I'm going to say yeah. I'll say yes, because of the fact of the matter is, I just think that Lamar is their best option. I don't know where they can go if Lamar is not there next season. I don't know what the free agents look like. I don't know what the quarterback class and coming into next year's draft looks like off the top of my head. But right now, I just don't see you going with a better quarterback, that's available to you at this time, because we're looking at, in my opinion, he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. He is, in my opinion. So I don't think you just walk away from a top 10 quarterback like that. So with that being said, Jay, I think that, I'm hoping that they don't, meaning the Ravens, don't just let it be a wait and see, let's see how he performs type season. But I do believe that they will get it done before training camp starts.
I hope so, man. Like when you look at it, and it's hard to get into the mind of what the Ravens might possibly be thinking, but with every other quarterback, I guess I would say like on that level or in that category, it feels like they get their deals done. What do you think the holdup is with the Ravens, man? Is it one of those things where maybe even after Lamar's been there for several years, they're still not sure? Or is it really just about the money? Why do you think from the Ravens standpoint, it's taken so long? And are they 100% sold on Lamar?
Jay, to answer your last question first, I don't believe they are sold on him. I don't believe they want to give him the money that they're possibly thinking Lamar is demanding. The holdup, Jay, I just don't think that. I think they're waiting to see him take another step, go to that next level, to take the Ravens to a deep playoff run, to the AFC Championship, to a Super Bowl. I don't think we're going to see that from Lamar. I mean, I think you have to put better pieces around Lamar, put him in a better position as far as allowing him to throw the ball more. We just seen too much running from Lamar. I know Lamar can run, but I don't think Lamar likes to run, to be honest with you, even though he can do it very well. I think he wants to perform and show that he can throw the ball downfield with the best of them. So I just don't think that. I think that they feel like maybe, Jay, that he's hit his ceiling, and then we're not going to see anything, higher than this. And as far as his performance goes, and that's the best thing that I could come up with, Jay, as far as why they haven't extended him to this point.
Now, man, that's a very interesting point, because if he's not going to develop anymore as a passer, like if this is the best he's going to be as a passer, you can start to make the case, well, like every year that goes by, that athleticism and that speed and that ability to run and make people miss, that's going to start leveling out at some point. So if you don't have like a real competent passer from the pocket, maybe that's their concern. I don't know. But man, I agree with you, K-Walk. I think there's something on the Ravens side where they're just not sure they want to go all in on Lamar. I think they're willing to pay
Right.
him for sure, but maybe just not what he feels like he's worth, or what
Exactly.
the market dictates that he's worth. So there's definitely something there from the Ravens side where they're like, we like him, but do we really want to pay that max dollar for
Right.
him? And you're right. Where else are they going to go? I don't think they're going to be able to replace. You're not going to find Lamar Jackson's just walking around the street every day. Does he
Seriously.
have some things he can get better at? Sure,
Yeah.
but I think he's their best option. And I think the Ravens are responsible as well, if you want to say, for lack of development, because
Yeah.
for those first couple of years, like
Yes.
that offense he was playing in, they didn't even give
Yeah.
him an opportunity to really develop as a
Right.
passer. That offense they were running was not very good in terms of allowing him to run an NFL offense from a passing standpoint. So to me,
Right.
they're as much responsible as he is for that lack of development, if you want to say. But your final word, K-Walk, you do think this thing will get done before camp?
I'm going to say yes, man. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Like I stated, I don't think that they're going to find a better quarterback next season off the bat, for sure. But yeah, I'm going to say yes. They will get it done. I'm not sure what
If
that
you're
noise
Lamar
is.
Jackson, K-Walk, and it doesn't get done for some reason, do you come to camp? Do you hold out? Do you say, I'm not playing until I have a deal? Do you come in and play on that 1-year deal and risk injury? What do you do if you're Lamar?
If I'm Lamar, I'll say I'm coming into camp, Jay, and I'm going to bet on myself. I really am going to bet on myself. I'm going to say, this is my year. I'm going to get it done. And a lot of these guys are doing that now. They're betting on themselves. And right now, I think that's where Lamar is going to go, and he's going to put the Ravens in a situation where, listen, you're going to have to pay me, or you're going to see me walk, one or the other. So I think that he'll definitely do that.
Yeah, hopefully it gets done, man, because I think Lamar definitely deserves some money. How much is he going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, or where he falls in that slot? I don't know, but I definitely think the Ravens need to do right by this guy, because he's been their offense ever since he's gotten there. So they need to take care of him. All right, K-Walk, let's shift gears a little bit, man, because we know Lamar Jackson is a great athlete. And when I look around the sports landscape, there's a lot of great athletes out there. And we always hear people talking about a guy. We see them and they'll say, oh, man, if he played football, he'd be a great tight end, or he'd be a great wide receiver, or, man, he would have been a great defensive back. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, maybe. And then at other times I'm like, you know what? Football is a little bit of a different game. And just because you're athletic doesn't mean you would be a good football player, because there is a physical
Right.
component to it that you have to be able to answer the bell physically, getting hit play after play after play. So
Yeah.
what I want to do, K-Walk, I'm going to give you some of the best athletes, most known stars that we've had in other sports. And I want you to tell me, if they played football, what position do you think would be they're best suited for? And then if you
Okay.
think they would be any good at it at all, because I think some of these guys could be good. Some of them, I'm not so sure. So let's start with LeBron James, man. Let's start with LeBron. He did play some football in high school, so he does have a little bit of a football background. But
Yeah.
if LeBron was going to be a professional football player at 6'8", 6'9", what position do you think would be good for LeBron? And do you think he would have been a good football player?
Yeah, I definitely think he would be a really good football player, Jay. I really do. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say, how could he put at the tight end and that slot? I'm going to say tight end. He's, what, 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", 260 plus pounds, whatever it is. I think he's shown some strength and he has some athleticism. So I think he'll be like a Shannon Sharp type of player there. So I'll put him in the H-back position for sure. He definitely could jump over people. He's shown the speed. So I think he can, he'll LeBron's ability to pay attention to detail. I think he'll be a great route runner as well. So I'll put him at an H-back.
Okay, I like it, K-Walk. I think he would have been pretty good as well. From a physicality standpoint, we've seen LeBron flipping and flopping all over a basketball court, gets poked in the eye, and he's on the ground like, he can't get up. Could he have handled it physically, K-Walk?
You know what, Jay? I'm going to say yes. He would have handled it physically. I just think his mentality would have changed. I think, we don't give him. I know I knock him on his mentality or or lack thereof when it comes to the physical standpoint. But I just think that he knows the game. He knows that the NBA is not a contact sport, so he tries to use that to his advantage. You got flopping and calling the fouls. But I think he'll change his mindset and change his mentality for sure by if he's in the NFL. I definitely think he can handle it from a physical standpoint. And again, he'll change his mindset as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of that has to do with being in the NBA and just trying to get calls. And if he was a football player, I think he would have been fine, because you're right. Like, if you're going to play, it forces you to be tough. Like, you have no option.
Yeah.
You're either going to be tough or you're just not going to play. So there's really no other way around it in football. All right, man, let's go to the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Mr. Michael Jordan. 6'6", athletic, jump out of the gym, quick, all those things. Where would you put MJ if he was going to play football? What position, and would he have been any good?
I'll put MJ at receiver. I'll put him at a Z receiver, and I don't think he possesses that X receiver type speed. So I'll put him wide left, wide right, away from along with the tight end. So I'll put him at a Z receiver. He has some athleticism. We've seen that in baseball. We've seen that in college. So I'm going to set a Z receiver, man. I think Mike can get open to run some slants, and I think you could throw some fade routes to him in the inside the red zone, and he'll go up and get those balls for sure. So I'll put Mike at a Z receiver.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. You like you said, if it's a jump ball, he's going up to get that. At 6'6", he's going to be a big body going up against some smaller deep corners and defensive backs. So I like it, man. And just the competitive nature of MJ, you got to believe that no matter what he's doing, he's going to figure out a way to be good at it. So I'm with you there. All right, let's go to Tiger Woods, K-Walk. Now, because golf is a little bit of a different beast, right? I mean, we don't get to see these guys run and jump and catch and do all those kind of things. We know he's the greatest, or at least one of the greatest golfers to ever do it. He's 6'1", about 185, K-Walk. So Tiger, if he was going to play football, where would he fit in, and would he be any good?
I don't know. I don't, wow, what he's 6'1". That's tough, Jay. That's tough. I don't know, Jay. This is a good one, man. This is a really good one. Because I don't see too much athleticism out of Tiger. He's just a great golfer, man. And I know that takes some athleticism in some standpoints, but his footwork, I just don't know what his footwork looks like, Jay, going side to side, front to back. So with that being said, I'll put him at a running back, Jay. I'll put him at a running back, and let him run some sweeps here and there. I know he's small in stature, but I just don't see. You know what, Jay? I'll put him at a slot. I'll put him at a slot receiver. Put him at a slot receiver and let him work on those linebackers and those safeties. That's where I put him at. But to answer your question, no, I don't think he'll be good at it, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. It's hard to find a position for this guy, right? Yeah. I don't like at 6'1", 185. He doesn't strike me as a receiver. Maybe you could put him in the slot, but is he going to be able to separate at running back at 185? I don't know that he's going to have that shiftiness and quickness. So I agree with you on Tiger. I'm not so sure he could have made the transition. All right, let's go to Steph Curry, man. The reigning NBA champion, 6'3", 6'4". Slight build, though. Slight build.
Yeah.
Where would you play him in football, and would he be any good?
Yeah, I know. I know he doesn't look like a tall guy on the court because he's 6'3", 6'4", is kind of short compared to an NBA comparison. But 6'3", 6'4", if you're in the NBA, that's serious size. That's some serious height there. So I think he could play receiver. I think he can play a little D-back too. He has great footwork. So I'm not going to put everybody on the offensive side of the ball. So, he doesn't like to play defense, Jay. So he doesn't like to move backwards too much. So I'll keep him on the offensive side of the ball. I'll put him at the Should he be a receiver? I'll put him in the slot, Jay. I'll put him in a tall slot there. He's got quickness from side to side. He's got great footwork. So I'll put him in a slot, outside, like along with Tiger. But I just think he'll be a lot better than Tiger would in that slot. So I'll put Steph at slot. I don't think he's fast enough to be an X. I really don't think he's big enough to be a Z either. So I'll put him at a Y or H depending on what offense you're in. So I'll put him in a slot, and I think he'll be good at
No,
it.
I like it, man. And I think he's skilled enough, like in terms of catching the ball and things like that, where he could be fine that way. So I agree with you on Steph. All right, man, this one's going to be kind of funny. What about KD, the Slim Reaper? This man is 7 feet tall. I don't know where he would fit in, K-Walk, but what say you?
I'm going to put him in the end zone. I'm going to put him at the goalpost, Jay. I'm going to be the one end of the Jay, I don't know where to put this guy at, man. There's just nothing that he could do with that frame, man. So, wow, Jay. I mean, even if as a receiver, man, you have to be physical in some aspect. If somebody sees a guy like that, I don't care how tall you are, they're just going to bump and run you and kill you off the line all day. If you're a receiver, can't hit anybody. He'll probably break himself in half. I don't know where to put this. I'll put him at quarterback, Jay. I'll put him at quarterback. I'll let him play quarterback and let him scramble all day, get the best offensive line I can possibly get to protect him. So I'll put him at quarterback, and he can see over the line. So KD will be a quarterback for me. Will he be good at it? I highly doubt it, but that's where I'll put him at.
Yeah, that's probably the best place you can put him, man. But yeah, I agree with you. There's really no place for KD, and I don't think he would have been any good at football whatsoever. Yeah. All right, 2 more, K-Walk. Let's go back in time a little bit. The round mound of rebound, Charles Barkley, about 6'4", but he's got a frame on him, K-Walk. Yeah. Where do you think he could have played Big Chuck?
Chuck, did he have speed back in the day? He had a little bit of speed. Because I'm thinking linebacker here, Jay. If not linebacker, possibly full. You know what? I put him at fullback, Jay. He's fullback. Okay. He's 6'4", 280 pounds. He loves to hit people. He loves to throw people through bar windows. So he's going to go after somebody. So I don't know if he's fast enough to play defense, especially from a linebacker standpoint, going sideline to sideline. So I think the best place for him would be fullback to lead those running backs through the hole for sure.
Yeah.
And would he be good at it? Yes, I definitely think he'll be good at it. Yeah, he'll be good at it too. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like fullback or offensive guard. I mean, those are really the only 2 places I can see Chuck. You put that big body on the offensive line and let him try to move some people out of there. But I like that one. All right, last one. Draymond Green, K-Walk. Now, we have seen a little bit of this movie before because he tried to play football at Michigan State. But where do you see Draymond, and would he have been any good?
Yeah, Draymond. Wow, man. Draymond is just he's just a machine on the defensive side of the ball. He loves to antagonize. He loves to get under you. So I'll put him at safety, Jay. I'll put him at a strong safety there. I think he has okay speed. I don't think he has free safety speed. I think he has strong safety speed, and he's very physical, and he'll get under your skin. He loves to play. He loves to get into, get physical with you, get into your body. So I'll put him as strong safety, Jay. Strong safety. And would he be good at it? I think he'd be pretty good at it. I think he'd be decent at it. Decent.
Maybe that would have worked out better for him because I think he tried to play tight end at Michigan State. And the few plays we have of that did not look good. He was getting absolutely worked. So maybe getting on the other side of the ball might have been better for Draymond. All right, good stuff, K-Walk. That was fun, man. Let's grab a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about if it's time for Tiger Woods to hang it up after his performance this weekend at the Open Championship. And then also we're going to give our top 3 NFL offenses of all time. So it'll be interesting to see what you came up with there. We'll do that right after the break. You're listening to The Walkthrough with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Walkthrough with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. All right, K-Walk, Tiger Woods, man, the Open Championship, he went out, he gave it a go. We know he's still dealing with a lot of stuff physically with his leg from the accident. Yeah. Sometimes it's amazing that he's even out there trying to compete. I think he finished at +9, doesn't make the cut. Yeah. Is it time, man? I mean, sometime with our greats, they hang around a little too long. They never know when it's time to walk away. And I'm not saying that it's time for Tiger, but I think sometimes
Right.
when you're just any athlete, you don't even have to be great. It's just hard to let go sometimes. Do you think it's time for Tiger to just go into the sunset, man, and hang it up? Or do you think he still has some days ahead of him?
Yeah, Jay. I mean, I definitely don't think he should hang it up, but his days are definitely behind him as well. If I can say that. I just think that he'll continue to play, he'll continue to compete because that's just the type of player he is, type of person that he is. We mentioned Michael Jordan's competitiveness. His is right up there along with Michael Jordan's. So I just constantly think that he's going to be playing. We're going to see him, in certain open, certain events, not every single one, but I definitely think that Tiger has come. I think he's set himself. He's comfortable with himself right now to say, listen, I know that I'm not the Tiger Woods I used to be, but I still love playing this sport. If I can continue to go out there and compete, tournament in this tournament, that tournament, pick my spots here, I have a legitimate chance of winning this thing or winning another one. So I definitely think he doesn't have to. I don't think it's time for him to hang it up by any stretch. But I definitely think at the same time, again, as I started off with, is that we have seen the last of the Tiger that we've used to seeing, but we'll still see him play though, Jay.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I don't think he needs to hang it up. I think, like you said, he's comfortable with this new version of himself.
Yeah.
If he can pick his spots, doesn't need to play every week or anything like that. Pick your
Right.
spots, pick some tournaments that you really want to play in, and then go out there, give it a go, and just be willing to live with whatever the results are.
Exactly.
And two, man, you can maybe even make a case that physically he's going like it hasn't been that long since the accident, so maybe
Right.
physically next year, the year after that, the year after that, maybe that leg will start to feel a little bit better. And
Right.
golf, unlike football, basketball, baseball, like you can play
Mhm.
golf a little bit long. You can go into your
Yeah.
50s,
Exactly.
60s. There's Arnold Palmer and those guys still go out there
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
tee it off and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
I think you're right, K Walk. I think there could still be a day where he could get hot and win a
Mhm.
tournament here or there. So I agree. I don't think Tiger needs to hang it up. Not yet, anyway. All right, man. We
Right.
got we got about 5 minutes here. Let's get into it. Our top three this week. We're gonna do the best
Mhm.
NFL offenses of all time. I went with some interesting ones. I think we're going to have some
Okay.
overlap here, K Walk, but we'll see what you came up with. Go ahead and give it to me. Who are your top three NFL offenses of all time?
All right, I'm gonna start at number three, Jay, and that's my Niners, man. That 94, 95, no, 90, 94 Niner team with Steve Young, Jerry Rice, those guys. I forget who else was on that roster as well, as far as the receiver. I think it was John Taylor. I think John Taylor was still there, but they had Ricky Waters, they had William Floyd, they had Brent Jones as well. That was one of the best offenses that I've seen. I know I'm sounding biased because as a 49er fan, but that was one of the best offense during that season, Jay. They just looked phenomenal. They clicked on all cylinders. Ricky Waters was catching the ball out of the backfield,
Yeah.
running the ball well as well. Jerry Rice was still Jerry Rice. John Taylor was still John Taylor. Brent Jones was still there, and then Steve Young propelled his game to another level. So I'll put them at number three. The number two team, I believe it's the I can't the 1998. I'm sorry, 1998 Minnesota Vikings. That team, I mean, they were like almost 400 yards a game. They had like 270 yards passing in that game. I mean, in that season, excuse me. They had over 121-yard rushing, and they averaged over almost 35 points a game in there
Yeah.
with obviously the big time receivers with Randy Moss, Chris Carter. Keep forgetting the big kid out of there as well. And of course Randall Cunningham as well. So those that's my second one, man. I think that offense was just phenomenal. Second one, I mean, my first one, man. I got to go with the 1999, the greatest show on turf, man. With the St. Louis Rams. I mean, that was one of the best offenses I've seen ever, Jay. In my opinion, it is. Obviously, they got him at number one. But you had Kurt Warner there. You had Isaac Bruce. You had Torrey Holt. You had Isaac Keene. You had Marshall Faulk. I mean, good gracious, that
Yeah,
was just
man.
a phenomenal, yeah, right. That was just a phenomenal offense there. That's the best offense that I've seen, and they played on turf, so they were a little faster than we were normally seeing. Those teams that I mentioned, they normally played on grass. I think the Vikings play more on turf, but best offense I've seen, Jay, in the history of the game to this point.
Yeah, that's good stuff, K Walker. I had a feeling we would have a lot of overlap, and we do. The only one different is our number 3.
49ers.
At 3, yeah. I went with that 07 New England Patriots team. Randy
team, yeah.
Moss, Tom Brady, averaging 411 yards a game, 295 passing, 115 on the ground, and almost 37 points a game, man. So
that's crazy.
They were phenomenal. The thing that I kind of went back and forth because they didn't pay it off. They didn't win the Super Bowl that year. So even though they had the undefeated season, they didn't pay it off. But that offense was absolutely phenomenal. And then at number 2, like you, man, I went with those Vikings. Outstanding with Randy Moss and Chris Carter. So I was right there with you at number 2 with the Vikings. And then again at number 1, same. I went with that greatest show on turf as well. Man, when you start naming all those guys, I forgot about Oz Hakeem and guys like that were on that team. They were just absolutely phenomenal. And I believe was it Mike Marks? Was he the head coach of that team?
Mike Marks was the offense.
Yeah. So man, they really put that thing together. So I had them at number 1 as well. And even though some of the numbers, like there's teams now with more numbers, obviously, especially passing, they only threw for 272 a game, but the NFL was just different back then. So I didn't really want to let those numbers influence me too much, man. But yeah, you're right. I'm 100% with you there. I went with that greatest show on turf as my best offense as well. So good stuff there, K-Walk. All right, man, we're right there at the time. We're going to grab a break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, K-Walk's got a lot of good stuff to get into as well. So stick around. You're listening to The Walkthrough with Kevin Walker and Jason Collins on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Before the break, Jay's segment was awesome. Gave our top offenses of all time, top 3 anyway. We talked Tiger Woods as well. So great stuff there, Jay. Want to keep the show rolling, and I want to start. Jay, we had some World Championship track and field yesterday. And one of the things that stood out to me, Jay, was that 100-meter men's final. Woo, Jay, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you watched it. We talked about it a little bit, man. I mean, USA swept the 100 meters. I mean, we had Fred Curry coming in first, Marvin Bracey and Trayvon Bromell finishing in that particular order. Jay, they look great. Curly came in at 9.86. First, I want to talk about this, and not to mention, Jay, this is only the 3rd time that USA has swept the men's 100 in the history of the World Championship. Last time it was in 1991 with Carl Lewis, Leroy Burrell, Dennis Mitchell, and those guys. And I believe the first time they did it was in '83 with Carl Lewis. Whom else am I missing? Oh, Calvin Smith and Emmett King as well. So this is a big thing for for the USA. But let's talk about Fred Curley and him winning the 100. Jay, he moved from the 400. He was a 400 mini champion. Then he moved from 400 and then came to win 100. He caught a lot of flack for that, Jay, and a lot of people discounted him out immediately when they heard that. But Jay, he ran the 9.86 yesterday, man. Going from the 400 into 100, that's a big deal, man. That's a really big deal, and he pulled it off. What say you about this?
Nah, you're right, man. I thought it was phenomenal because he's a bigger body too, right? So you could see why he would be a good 400 runner. But to make that jump from the 4 to the 1, that raised a lot of eyebrows, man. But I'll tell you what, once he figured his start out, you knew he was going to be tough to deal with because from 50 meters to 100, he has great closing speed. He doesn't sort of fall back. Like we see a lot of runners slowing down that last 10 to 15 meters, and he looks like he's getting stronger the whole way through. So for him, to me, it was really about getting a great start and then just running your race. And he absolutely did that, man. So just super impressive to be able to go from the 4 to the 1. And then, like you said, man, there were a lot of other really good sprinters in that race. So to be able to pay it off and close the deal and actually win the world championship, man, just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure, Jay, for sure. I mean, you could just see the strength of his 400 ability, like you mentioned, the last 50, the second half of that race, the last 50 meters, you can just see how strong he became. And that, obviously he got that from the 400. But again, you usually see guys go from the 400 to the 200. But then as opposed to going from the 400 to 100. I know when you and I ran track in high school, I couldn't do the 100, man. I just wasn't built for the 100. I wanted to run the curves. I wanted to run the curves. So I eliminated the 100 out of my game. I went from the 2 to the 4, and the 4 made me stronger for the 2. But I just couldn't believe he did that, Jay, and was successful at it as well. But that goes to show you, like you mentioned, the start is huge. It is huge for any racer. I mean, I don't care if it's the 1 to 2 to whatever, the 1 to 2 to 4, whatever the case may be. That start is huge. And if you can get off the blocks quick and then slowly build up, and that strength will take over from there, for sure. But let's also talk about the second place contestant there, Marvin Bracy. He ran a 9.88. And 28 years old, Jay, played receiver at Florida State. What say you about him and his performance? Because he came out and looked like it was a one-on-one tie. I mean, it was like a tie between him and it's that third place. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
I thought he was super impressive. I think from a time standpoint, it only is like a 1/100th of a second that separated first from second. And honestly, watching it like the first time through, I thought he won. I was like, because they were like Curly, and I was like, wait, did Curly even win that? It was that close. But then when you go back and you look at the replay, I thought he leaned too early. Like he leaned with his head and not with his torso. And Curly kind of went through with his torso up. And I really thought that made the difference. But no, I mean, you got to give him a ton of credit. Super impressive race. Could have won the thing. I mean, so yeah, I mean, just all three of those guys, especially, and it's a bit of a down year for the male Jamaican sprinters. Like they got some young guys in 2021 who are going to make noise in years to come. So for the US to be able to take advantage of that and get the 1, 2, 3 sweep was huge. But yeah, man, he was impressive. And maybe just from a technique standpoint, if he was a little better those last 2, 3 meters, he might have walked away with the win.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a close one with Trayvon Bromell as well. He finished a 9.88, just slightly behind Bracy. And he was in that far lane too, Jay.
Yeah.
And I thought he won the race at first, but then at the replay, I saw that, because he had looked over and because he thought he won the race too, because he had a great start, as you mentioned. Yeah. It's all about the starts. He had a great start, but that strength of Curly just took over for him. But yeah, nonetheless, they finished 1, 2, 3. And Bromell, this is his third place finish. I mean, he finished in the 2015 World Championships as well. So, he's kind of accustomed to finishing, and I know he wants to, break into that top 2, if not the number 1. But I'm pretty sure he's happy with, with his performance right now. At least he's consistent there.
Yeah.
But Jay, let's talk about another guy real quick, and that's Christian Coleman. He placed 6th yesterday, and back in 2019, he was the world champion, right? So he didn't compete in 2020 because of he was suspended due to doping issues there, man. Are we starting to see, because we kind of talked about a few weeks ago, Sha'Carri Richardson and how she fell off after that doping incident and get her getting suspended. Do we have to chalk this up to, if they perform well, then they get caught for drug tests, and then they don't perform as well as they used to? Can we chalk it up to that? Was it really the doping, Jay?
Yeah, man, that's a good question, K-Walk. It's tough because that's where your mind wants to go, right? It's like, man, he was performing at this level before he had a suspension. Now he's finishing six. You know, you kind of start wanting to put that piece, those puzzle pieces together. Yeah, I don't know, K-Walk, because track is such a cruel sport in some ways, because when you look at the times, like I said, the separation from 1 to 2 is 1/100th of a second. I don't know what time he ran at 6, but I guarantee you it was just hundreds of seconds, if not tenths of seconds different, you know, from the guy that wins the race. So, you know, he's in 6 and we're kind of looking at him like, you know, this bum. But in reality, he's fractions of a second slower than the guy that won the race. So, but yes, I mean, I think the short answer is it definitely raises your eyebrows and makes you wonder, like, what's going on with this guy? Was he performing well before because of maybe some performance enhancers? I don't know, but it definitely makes you raise your eyebrows.
Yeah, for sure, Jay. I mean, yeah, I'm not one to believe in coincidences, but you know, we talked about Sha'Carri Richardson, you know, ever since that she got caught for that, she just hasn't been the same. And now with Coleman as well. So I just going to chalk it up to that, Jay. I'm just going to say I don't believe in coincidence. How about that? I'll leave it at that. But no, nonetheless, man, hats off to those gentlemen, man. Great performances there, great feat there. As far as you know, sweeping the 100, that's big, especially being only third time in the history you know, of all of the, you know, the games. And we talked about Carl Lewis was there yesterday. He talked to them about before the race. So knowing he was part of those other two, you know, I know they were listening, and I know they had their ears to his mouth for sure. But great stuff there, Jay. All right, Jay, let's switch gears a little bit here, man, before we take our next break. And I want to talk about a little NBA here, and I want to talk about. He was starting to become my guy. Maybe he still is, Jay. Maybe he still is. But I'm talking about Mr. Ja Morant, man. Ja Morant has come out and said that not only would he have beaten my MJ one-on-one, but he would have cooked him. To use his word, he would have cooked him. So, Jay, listen, I love his confidence, man. I'm not taking anything away from Ja. I know he's fast. I know he's very explosive, but he challenges the GOAT. He doesn't challenge him. He says he would have cooked him, Jay. Your thoughts on this, Jay?
As I told you in the text, K-Walk, I'm not sure Ja can beat MJ today. I'm really not. I mean, let alone in MJ's prime. I mean, I think some of these young guys, they got to go back and watch the video, because sometimes you go back and watch a video of an older player and you're like, I don't know. But MJ's videos hold up. Like, you put on an old MJ game and just watch this man's footwork, his quickness, his explosiveness, the athleticism. It holds up, man. You can drop MJ in today's era of basketball.
Yes.
And to me, it would have been no different. He would have dominated the game. I don't think Ja Morant would have had a chance at MJ in MJ's prime. I think MJ might have beat him 11-0 if they were playing one-on-one, because I just don't know how Ja would stop him. MJ's too big. Like, how is he going to stop MJ's fadeaway little turnaround jumper? Like, I just think these guys don't really understand who MJ was. And then MJ would have been in his ear, been in his head the entire time.
That's where,
I look, and I like Ja, and I'll be honest, I knocked him down a few pegs after I heard him say that. I'm like, nah, Ja, like I can't get with you on that one. But I just don't think they understand, man. Like, how are you going to go to the GOAT? Like, there's a lot of names he could have said before he got to MJ. So yeah, man, I don't think he'd have a shot.
Yeah, Jay, and like you said, he knocked. He knocked you down, or you knocked him down a few pegs there. You know, Ja was just starting to win me over, as you know. We how I felt about Ja in the beginning, but the more and more I started to watch him and listen to his interviews, post game interviews and things of that nature, I understand the kid, the young man is an athlete and he's a competitor. I love that about any athlete, but it just seemed like some of his antics, this was too much for me. But I started to understand it. He started to tone it down a little bit. I like it, but with this one right here, Ja, I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what they say? Don't pull on Superman's cape, man. Don't tug on Superman's cape. My favorite saying is don't bite on the tail of a dragon, man. Just don't do it, man. I mean, that's Mike. You don't want to see Mike, but like you said, Jay, it'd be interesting to see how they would compare today if MJ
I'm
says, "Listen."
serious too. Yeah.
And we know MJ is not one to back down from anyone, man. From anyone, from any challenge. I don't care how old he is. But great stuff there, Jay. All right, we got a couple of minutes here before we grab our next break. But Jay, I want to stay on the basketball talk, and I want to talk about Mr. Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat. He's come out and said requested a max deal extension right now. He's still on his rookie deal, of course. So he's looking to be extended. One, will he get the max deal done with the Heat? Or two, do you see him being traded and possibly getting that max deal with another team? Where do you see Tyler Hero?
What does he have left on his con? Is it just 1 year left on his deal, or where's
1
he
year?
at?
Yeah,
just 1 year
yeah,
left.
it's 1 year left on his. Yeah.
Man, that's a good question, K Walk. I almost feel like Tyler Hero, and usually I wouldn't say this, but I almost feel like he should wait, because right now, coming off as a six man of the year, played great for the Heat, instant offense, all that stuff, great scorer of the basketball. But I almost feel like right now, maybe he doesn't warrant max money. Like close, I think he deserves an excellent contract, good money, all that. But I feel like if he waits a year and actually plays this year, maybe gets into the starting lineup, then I think he has a better case to say I deserve a max deal, because right now I'm not sure that he's fully convinced me that he deserves a max deal. The other thing, you're right, like his name, every time they start talking about a trade, Tyler Hero's name is the first name that comes up for the Miami Heat. So it's one of those things where you got to ask yourself, like, if you're the first guy, the first name coming up in every trade talk, and Miami's willing to say, okay, we're going to put you in a deal, to them, do they really look at you as a max player? Because, you know, if they do, is it really going to be that easy to let you walk out the door? So if I was Tyler Hero, I would wait a year, because I think this time next year, we could make a much easier case and say, yeah, well, this guy, he's a max player. So I think Hero should pump the brakes a little bit, wait a year, bet on himself, as you mentioned earlier. And I think he'll be in a more powerful negotiating position this time next year.
Yeah, for sure, Jay. And I think the reason why he may have asked this question or requested this, I should say, is because of the fact of the matter. Maybe he wants to know where the Heat are with him. Are they really committed to him? And if they sign into that max deal, then he'll know that they are committed to him. If they wait and, let these trade rumors continue to circulate, then he'll know that, he's going to be happy to look elsewhere. He's going to have to be ready to uproot his family, if you will. But he's been seen at the summer league games with the Heat. Spoelstra's been there. A lot of guys has been there to support some of these young guys, man, and it's been phenomenal to watch. But like you said, Jay, his names keep popping up. I don't care if you talk about Donovan Mitchell, talk about KD, whomever the case may be. His name is always in there. I think he has to be in that trade talk for sure. But before we grab a break here, Jay, let's talk about Donovan Mitchell. Okay, we talked about this Friday night on our show, the shoot around on right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio, Friday, 7 p.m., ladies and gentlemen, along with Brittany Jones. Donovan Mitchell, there's talk about him possibly going to the Knicks. There's also talk about him possibly going to the Heat as well. Where do you see Donovan Mitchell start of next season for our listeners here? Will he be a Jazz? Will he be a Knick? Will he be a Heat, or do you possibly see him elsewhere?
To me, it feels like this energy and this momentum around New York is going to work out. I think his dad works in New York. I think he's from that area. So it just seems like everything is aligning to potentially get him in New York. And New York needs him. I mean, we were kind of puzzled as to why they went all in on Brunson earlier in free agency. So they really need another guy. And I don't think Donovan Mitchell is a superstar, but I think he's really, really good. And he's someone that the Knicks absolutely need. So I think if there's any way for them to get that deal done, they're going to do everything they can to get it done. Now, the question is going to be, K-Walk, as we've seen with some of these other deals, is what is the asking price going to be? Because if you're talking about 4, 5, 6 picks, then I don't know that it becomes worth it at that point. But if I had to guess, or if I was a betting man, K-Walk, I'm going to say that New York's going to win out on this one.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jay. Jay, I have to agree with you on this one because of the fact of the matter. It seems like it just fits, like everything you mentioned. You know, him being from here. I know he only has a little bit of say in the trade, but I think they'll do their best to accommodate him, to make him happy. And if it's going to New York and he's more comfortable in that situation, then they'll do their best. Especially if they know that the Knicks are willing to give up, 5, 6 first round picks, whatever the number is. That's a no-brainer as well. So it's a win-win-win for everyone. So I mean, yeah, I would like to see him, man. I would like to see him here. Some of these Knicks fans, man, here, Jay, are just we got to talk them off the ledge right now, Jay. I mean, they're ready to jump, man. So they just year in and year out, they get him. I guarantee, like your Cowboys and your fan base there, kind of starting to get used to that now, Jay. But it's going to be their year. It's going to be their year for sure. So great stuff there. So yeah, I believe that it will be Donovan Mitchell going to the Knicks for a plethora of draft picks, but it's going to be interesting for sure. I think we'll definitely see that happen before start of training camp for the NBA. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take our next break here, our last break. When we come back, let's talk about who would you take, and also our start bench segment. I feel like I got some good ones for Jay today, hopefully. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, you are tuned into the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Walkthrough Radio Show with myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Before the break, we were talking some track and field there. We were talking NBA as well. I want to start our Who Would You Take Here segment, Jay. We've got about 8 minutes here. I'm gonna start off with some baseball, Jay, and I didn't make it too hard for you. I gave you some big time names. I feel like you know who these guys are. All right, so I actually sent it to you. So we're gonna go Aaron Judge from the New York Yankees, center fielder from the New York Yankees, and we got Mike Trout, center fielder from the Los Angeles Angels. Who would you take?
Okay, Walker, are we talking this year only or overall? Who would I take?
Let's talk this year. I'm sorry. Let's talk this year.
Okay.
This year.
Okay. All right. So I screenshotted some stats here because I'm not up on all my baseball stuff. But if we're talking this year, I gotta take Aaron Judge. I mean, in almost every category, he's performing better than Trout is this year. So for me, it's easy. And then when you factor in the home runs that Judge is hitting, and I mean, he's on pace to do some amazing things. So to me, this was not that tough this year. I got to take Aaron Judge.
All right, let's do overall. Let's do overall.
Overall, I might go the other way, K-Walk. I might go Trout. And again, I don't know a ton about these guys, but I think most people would probably say that Trout is a better player overall than Judge. So I think overall, give me Trout. This year, give me Judge.
All right, that's fair to say. All right, next one, Jay. Let's go. Let's go basketball here. Excuse me, and let's go the recently re-signed, I should say, DeAndre Ayton, who just picked up, signed that 4-year, $133 million deal with the Suns, and then we had Rudy Gobert, who just got traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This coming season, Jay, who do you have? Who would you take, Rudy or Ayton?
Man, that's a good one, but I think I'm going to go Ayton just because I think he gives you more on the offensive end. And I sometimes, look, I know Rudy Gobert is a good defensive player, but sometimes I feel like people over exaggerate how good he is defensively. Yes, he could block some shots in the paints, but he's not a good perimeter defender at all, in my opinion. So give me DeAndre Ayton, because to me, he's just more versatile.
I'm going to agree with you there, Jay. Too. I'm going to say Aiton as well. I think he gives you more on the offensive side of the ball, and he can play. He can protect the rim just as well as Gobert. So that's a plus there for sure. So I'm going to go Aiton as well. All right, next one, Jay. We talked about this guy, Tiger Woods, and him aging and his career possibly being over, and should he walk away? Also, the same thing could be said about Serena Williams. All right. So
Yeah.
we got these two, Jay. So as of right now, this is just who will win their next who will win a major first out of these two. Who would you take?
Man, that's a great question. I'm gonna take Tiger, and the reason why is I think physically, I just think winning 6 or 7 tennis matches in the course of 2 weeks is harder to do. And Serena is over 40 now, and golf has a longer shelf life. I think it'll be easier for Tiger to get hot on a Saturday, Sunday, and win one than it is for Serena to put multiple days together over and over to actually win it. So I'm going to take Tiger to win one first.
Again, Jay, I'm gonna go with you on this one. I'm gonna take Tiger, man. I just think that like as you stated, Serena and all the grind that she has to go through, to get that championship. Tiger, it's still a grind for him at this point with that leg injury. He still has to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday as well. But the grind is just not as tough as it would be for Serena. And I think them both being what Tiger's 45, 43, 40, somewhere around there. Serena's 40, 41. I don't see her winning another one. I don't see her winning another one, Jay. I don't.
Right.
I just don't see Serena's winning another one, especially when you got all these young ladies out here now. Coco Gauff out here. I mean, it's just getting harder and harder for her. So I'm gonna go Tiger as well. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking Tiger, because I don't think Serena's going to win another one. Like Tiger might not win for 3-4 years, but I don't think Serena's going to win at all. That's why I got to go Tiger.
I agree, man. I agree. So great stuff there. All right, Jay, we got our start bench cut here. First one, these are announcers. These are NFL announcers or just announcers in general, not necessarily NFL announcers. Actually, I think he is. Yes, no, they are NFL announcers. So with that being said, I'm going to go Al. We got Al Michaels, we got Joe Buck, and we got Gus Johnson. I forgot Gus Johnson recently became an NFL announcer. So who do you have? Start bench cut.
Man, this is good, K-Walk, because Al Michaels is like, I mean, it's very hard to cut Al Michaels, but I'm just going personal preference here. So I'm going to start my man, Gus Johnson, only because he makes every game exciting. I don't care what it is. I could be watching Indiana against Purdue on a Saturday afternoon, and Gus makes it feel like the national championship. Let me start Gus, and then I'm going to bench Joe Buck. And I hate to do it because Al Michaels is a legend in the game, but I'm going to cut Al Michaels.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Jay. But you know how I feel about Gus, so I'm going to start Gus as well. Gus, you and I could be playing a game of marbles, and he'll make it sound like you said a national championship game. But yeah, I love Gus, man. Now this was tough for me, man, because we grew up loving Al Michaels. That Monday Night Football with him, Dan Dierdorf, and Frank Gifford. I mean, that was just outstanding. I remember that one catch. I forget what receiver was that? I remember it was a Packer game, and the ball it hit him. Who was that receiver? I can't even think of a receiver. And it bounced, looked like it bounced on the ground, but it didn't. And he picked it up and scored a touchdown. It was a Monday night game, and he just made it seem like that was just the greatest thing ever. But Joe Buck, man, Joe Buck just has that sound to him that makes you just say, okay, I like him. So that being said, Jay, I'm going to make it. I'm going to go with you on this one, man. I'm going to start Gus. I'm going to bench Joe. I'm sorry, Mike, but Al Michaels, but I gotta cut you in this. Yeah, this is a tough one. I gotta agree with you there. All right, next one. We got summer league guys. We got the rookies that come in right now. So summer league guys have had some really good seasons right now, or summer league season, I should say. Give me your thoughts on this one, Jay, and I got three here. Who do you think is going to have the better season? Start, bench, cut. I'm going to start with Keegan Murray, young man out of Iowa, fourth overall pick for the Kings. Then we got obviously Pablo Banchero, the number one overall pick for the Magic out of Duke. And then we got Blake Wesley, the number 25th pick of Notre Dame, and is currently playing with the who's Blake? I forget who's Blake playing with. It escapes my mind. But Blake Wesley, but nonetheless, I'm sorry, his name escapes me, but I mean his team escapes me. But start, bench, cut. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is a good one, K Walk, because I like Keegan Murray. I think he's going to be really
Yeah.
good. But I think Banchero is the most NBA ready right now, just from the size, athleticism. He's going to be able to do a little bit more. He'll probably have the ball in his hands more. So I'm going to start Banchero. I'm going to bench Keegan Murray because I think this guy's going to be underrated. I think he's going to be phenomenal. And then Blake Wesley, I'm going to have to cut only because I'm not really sure who he is. He hasn't come across my radar yet, man. So unfortunately, I got to cut the young man.
Okay, Spurs. I think it's Spurs. That's who he is. That's right. I don't know why I thought I missed that. But yeah, I'm going to go with you, Jay, in this one because of the fact of the matter is, I actually know what, Jay, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to start Keegan, man. I'm going to start Keegan Murray.
Okay.
I think that I think he's NBA ready as well. Pablo is as well, but I just think that Keegan is more of a natural scorer, and it fits this league, fits him, and we're going to see a lot from him. But Pablo is, like you stated, he's NBA ready as well. He can play both sides of the court. So I'll bench Pablo. I like Blake, man. I put him on here because he's doing really well in the summer league. But I put him in this conversation because he is doing well. But I'll cut Blake here. All right, last one. I know we're a little overtime here. So Jay, I'll start off my segment with track and field, man. So these are three events in the track and field, man. Start, bench, cut. We talked about the 100 meters. We got the 100 meters. We got the 200 meters, men or women. I don't care which one it is. If you had to pick one, obviously 200 meters. And then we got the 4x1 relay, Jay. So we got 100, 200, and 4x1. Start, bench, cut.
Man, this is good. I love all these events, man. I'm gonna start the 200. I like you said, there's something about watching those guys run the curve and then see coming down the stretch, like who can hold on, who's gonna fade away. So for me, the 200 is the most exciting race for me. I know a lot of people would probably prefer the 100, but I love the 200, man. So I'm gonna start the 200. I'm going to bench the 100 meters because, man, that is for 9 seconds, and some change. There's nothing more exciting than that, man. So I'm going to bench the 100. The 4x1, I do love it, but the camera angles are never great. You can never really see the handoffs. It's hard to watch everyone at the same time. So I'm going to cut the 4x1 just for that reason alone.
All right, Jay. I'm slightly different here, Jay. I'm gonna start the 200 because, for one, I still own the high school record for the whole 200 meters, so that's obvious. I got to go with that.
Yes, sir.
but despite that, man, no, I just love, like you mentioned, running that curve, man. I just love running that curve, coming off of that, leaning and then straighten up and then hitting that last 100 there, man. I just love that feeling, man, for sure. The next one is actually 4x1 for me, Jay. I mean, if you can get me running 100 on a curve, I don't know what it is about the curve that I love so much, but if you can get me running 100 off the curve, I'll take that. I'll take that as well. The 100 meter, man, I stunk at it, Jay. I mean, I just wasn't fast enough. I just wasn't a 100 meter guy, but I love watching it. And I mentioned the race. We talked about the 100 meters in this World Championship. It's a great race to watch, but for me, it's just I'm just going back. I guess it's a personal preference, like you mentioned, with the announcers. But so I'm gonna start 200. I'm gonna bench the 4x1, and then I'm gonna cut the 100. Hard as it is to do, but I'm gonna do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time that we have. Great stuff there, Jay. Always want to leave you guys with something, and this week I'll leave you with this: the harder you work for something, the greater you feel when you achieve it. Excuse me. For myself, Kevin Walker, alongside Jason Collins on the Walkthrough Radio Show. God willing, we'll talk to you next week.